Let me tell you something real quick. There are people in your life right now smiling in your face, pretending to care, but behind closed doors, playing with your feelings. Silently, carefully, ruthlessly. They're not here to love you. They're not here to support you. They're here to drain you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And the worst part, you see it, but you ignore it. You feel it, but you make excuses. When you step onto a stage, when you open your mouth to speak, the first words out of your mouth determine everything. They decide if the audience leans in or tunes out, if they feel what you're saying or just hear it. That's why you don't start soft. You don't ease in. You grab them by the soul. You say something that shakes them awake, something that makes them realize this is not just another speech. This is a message they need to hear. You don't start by thanking the audience or easing them into the topic. No. You start with power. You start with impact. Imagine opening with this. There are people in your life right now who are playing with your feelings, and the worst part, you're letting them. That one line forces the audience to confront themselves. It makes them sit up, shift in their seats, and say, wait, he's talking about me? It creates tension, and tension creates engagement. From there, you push deeper. You tap into emotion. You make them feel the weight of the problem. And when they feel it, they stay. Because now they need to know, what do I do about it? That's why the first words matter. They don't just introduce the topic. They command attention. They set the tone. And most importantly, they make sure your message isn't just heard, it's felt. There are people in your life right now who aren't genuinely there for you. They smile in your face, they say the right things, they act like they care, but deep down they don't. These people aren't just taking up space in your life, they're manipulating your emotions, draining your energy, and keeping you in a cycle of confusion. The most dangerous part, they do it so silently, so subtly, that you don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. They don't need to shout at you to hurt you. They don't need to break you openly. No, they operate in the shadows. They plant small doubts. They make you question yourself. They pretend to be on your side while secretly pulling you down. They act like they're supporting you, but when you really need them, they're nowhere to be found. They encourage you just enough to keep you close, but never enough to see you truly succeed. They make you feel like you owe them something, when in reality, they've given you nothing but stress. And the worst part, you might be defending them. You might be telling yourself, they didn't mean it. That's just how they are. They're not that bad. But let's be honest. If someone keeps playing with your feelings, keeps testing your limits, and keeps making you feel less than what you are, they don't belong in your life. Period. I know what it feels like to sit in silence, overthinking a conversation, replaying what they said, what they did, and wondering if you're just being too sensitive. You question yourself. You ask, am I overreacting? Did they really mean it like that? That's what happens when someone plays with your feelings. They leave you doubting yourself. They make you feel like your emotions are a burden, like you're the problem. But let me tell you something. You are not the problem. The problem is the people who treat your heart like a game. The ones who make promises they don't keep, who say they care but never show it, who make you feel like you're not enough, even when you give them everything. It hurts. It drains you, it steals your peace, and the most frustrating part, sometimes you can't even explain it to anyone. You can't put it into words because it's not always what they say, it's what they don't say. It's how they leave you hanging, how they show up when it's convenient for them but disappear when you need them most. It's how they make you feel crazy for even bringing it up. I see you, I hear you. And I need you to understand something. You are not imagining it. If something feels off, it's because it is. If someone constantly makes you feel small, unseen, or unimportant, it's because they don't respect you the way they should. And you don't have to put up with it. Not for them. Not for anyone. Not everyone who hurts you does it in obvious ways. Some people don't yell, don't curse, don't physically harm you. No, they're more strategic than that. They play with your emotions silently, subtly, carefully. And that's what makes them so dangerous. These people know exactly what they're doing. They don't break you all at once. Instead, they chip away at you piece by piece. They disguise their manipulation as concern. They make you second guess yourself. They know just how much attention to give you to keep you holding on, but never enough to make you feel truly secure. They use silence as a weapon. One day, they act like you're the most important person in their life. The next, they disappear without explanation, making you wonder what you did wrong. They ignore your messages, respond when they feel like it, and act like your emotions don't matter. And when you finally call them out, they act innocent. They tell you you're being dramatic. They say, I was just busy. And you start to doubt yourself. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I am expecting too much. But let me tell you something. Real love, real friendship, real connections don't leave you feeling confused. They don't make you question your worth. They don't keep you on an emotional roller coaster. If someone is constantly making you feel uncertain, if they're toying with your emotions instead of treating you with respect, they are not for you. They are using you, and the only way to win their game is to stop playing it. Every time you allow someone to play with your feelings, you pay a price. Maybe you don't see it right away, but over time it drains you. It eats away at your confidence, your peace, your sense of self-worth. You start feeling exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. You carry the weight of their mixed signals, their half-hearted efforts, their hot and cold behavior. You find yourself constantly questioning where you stand with them. Are they really there for you? Do they actually care? Or are they just keeping you around for their own convenience? And the longer you tolerate it, the more damage it does. You stop trusting your own emotions. You hesitate to speak up because every time you do, they make you feel like you're overreacting. You become so used to inconsistency that you start accepting it as normal. But let me tell you, it is not normal to feel like you have to beg for basic respect. The cost of keeping these people in your life is too high. You're sacrificing your peace, your happiness, your mental and emotional well-being, all for someone who wouldn't hesitate to walk away if the roles were reversed. So ask yourself, is their presence worth your peace? Is their attention worth yourself? Because if someone is draining you more than they're uplifting you, if they are taking more than they're giving, then the cost of keeping them around is a price you can't afford to pay. Let's get one thing straight. Your worth is not determined by how much you tolerate from others. You are not here to be someone's emotional punching bag. You are not here to constantly prove your value to people who refuse to see it. Too often, we let people stay in our lives just because of history. Oh, we've been friends for years. Oh, they're family. Oh, I don't want to seem rude. And so we let them disrespect us in small ways. We let them come and go as they please. We accept their half-hearted apologies. We keep giving them chances they don't deserve. But let me ask you, why are you giving so much to people who wouldn't do the same for you? Why are you holding on to people who only show up when it benefits them? You have to know your worth. You have to stop settling for relationships, friendships, family, romantic partners that drain you instead of fulfilling you. If someone is constantly making you feel unseen, unheard, or unimportant, that's a reflection of them, not you. You are worthy of consistency. You are worthy of love that doesn't leave you confused. You are worthy of relationships that bring you peace, not stress. And the moment you truly understand your worth, you won't hesitate to walk away from anyone who treats you like an option. Some people don't hurt you in obvious ways. They don't curse you out. They don't physically harm you. Instead, they do something much more dangerous. They manipulate you in ways that are hard to detect. And the worst part, you don't always see it happening until it's too late. That's why you have to learn to recognize the red flags before they destroy your peace. These people don't always come with warnings, but their patterns reveal them. Watch for the ones who only reach out when they need something but are never there when you need them. The ones who are kind to you in private but distant in public. The ones who apologize with words but never change their actions. The ones who play the victim every time you call them out on their behavior. Pay attention to how they react when you express your feelings. Do they listen and try to understand? Or do they make you feel guilty for even speaking up? Do they downplay your emotions? Do they twist the situation so that somehow you end up apologizing for how they made you feel? And then there are the ones who keep you on an emotional leash, giving you just enough attention to keep you hanging on, but never enough to make you feel secure. One day they act like you're their priority. The next they disappear. And every time you pull away, they suddenly become sweet, making you believe they care, only to repeat the cycle all over again. This is not love. This is not friendship. This is control. And the sooner you recognize the signs, the sooner you can take your power back. Excuses are the chains that keep you stuck in toxic relationships. Every time you make an excuse for someone who disrespects you, you give them permission to do it again. You tell yourself, they didn't mean it. That's just how they are. Maybe I'm expecting too much. But deep down, you know the truth. You're just afraid to face it. Let me be real with you. People know what they're doing. They know when they're ignoring your calls. They know when they're only showing up when they need something. They know when they're stringing you along, giving you just enough to keep you invested, but never enough to make you feel secure. They know. And yet you keep making excuses. You keep justifying their behavior because you don't want to lose them. But let me ask you, what exactly are you holding on to? A one-sided connection? A relationship where your needs are never met? A friendship that leaves you drained more than it lifts you up? The longer you make excuses for someone's mistreatment, the longer you allow them to play with your feelings. And the truth is, they're not going to stop, not because they can't, but because they don't have to. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. So stop tolerating half-hearted efforts, mixed signals, and disrespect disguised as love. Stop giving people free passes to hurt you just because you care about them. Caring about someone doesn't mean sacrificing your self-respect. No more excuses. If they can't show up for you the way you deserve, let them go. Some people need to go. No warning, no explanation, no second chances. Not because you're bitter, not because you're heartless, but because your peace is more valuable than their presence. See, we're taught to be understanding, to be patient, to give people time to change. And while growth is real, so is manipulation. Some people don't change because they don't have to. They know you'll keep forgiving. They know you'll keep waiting. They know they can hurt you today, say sorry tomorrow, and you'll let them right back in. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, how much longer am I going to allow this? You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your life. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to someone who refuses to respect your feelings. You don't have to stay connected to people who only bring negativity, confusion, and stress. Cutting people off isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. Clear about what you deserve. Clear about what you will and won't accept. Clear about the fact that you refuse to let someone play with your emotions like it's a game. And here's the truth. When you start protecting your peace, the right people stay and the wrong people remove themselves. You don't have to force it. You don't have to argue. You don't have to beg anyone to treat you right. Just step back, set your boundaries, and watch who respects them. Those who don't, they were never for you in the first place. Cut them off, not out of anger, but out of love for yourself. Energy is everything. It's the most valuable thing you have. And once you realize how precious it is, you'll stop letting anyone waste it. We all have a limited amount of time and emotional bandwidth. The people you allow in your life should add to your energy, not drain it. When you surround yourself with people who constantly make you feel uncertain, anxious, or exhausted, you're giving away your power. Every time they play with your feelings, every time they disrespect you, you lose a little bit of yourself. You lose confidence. You lose peace. You lose your ability to see clearly because you're constantly battling confusion and emotional turmoil. And let me tell you something. You cannot afford to waste your energy on people who do not respect it. You cannot afford to keep investing time in relationships that bring you more stress than joy. Life is too short and your peace is too important. Here's what happens when you start protecting your energy. You get clearer about what you want, about what you deserve. You start noticing the people who truly uplift you and the ones who just want to use you. You become more intentional about who you allow into your life and why. So stop giving your energy to people who don't appreciate it. Stop spending your time on relationships that leave you feeling drained and unimportant. Your energy is powerful. You deserve to give it to those who will help you grow, not to those who will use it to manipulate, confuse, or control you. When you protect your energy, you protect your peace. And that, my friend, is priceless. You can't live your life trying to please everyone. You can't live in constant fear of stepping on toes, of saying no, of setting boundaries because you're afraid of what someone might think. The truth is, the only person you need to worry about pleasing is yourself. Too many people spend their lives bending over backward for others, compromising their values and sacrificing their happiness just to keep others satisfied. They silence their needs, ignore their feelings, and endure disrespect, thinking that by doing so, they're being kind or loyal. But what you're really doing is losing yourself. Loyalty isn't about taking whatever someone throws at you, and it's certainly not about accepting disrespect for the sake of maintaining a connection. Real loyalty is about mutual respect. It's about standing by people who uplift you, who treat you with kindness and honesty, and who respect your boundaries. Here's the thing. If you're constantly adjusting yourself to make others happy, you'll never truly be happy. You'll always be chasing validation, always trying to earn affection, always giving more than you have to offer. But that's not what life is about. Life is about standing firm in your truth. It's about choosing your own peace and comfort over the temporary satisfaction of pleasing others. You're not here to shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. You're not here to make yourself smaller just to fit into someone else's narrative. If someone can't accept you for who you truly are, then maybe they don't deserve to be in your life. Your happiness, your peace, and your self-respect should always come first. So choose to prioritize yourself and let go of the need to please others at the expense of your own well-being. Leaving people behind isn't always easy, but sometimes it's the only option that allows you to move forward. It's not about burning bridges or holding grudges. It's about knowing when you've given enough and when it's time to let go. Walking away is an act of self-preservation, not cruelty. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. The art of walking away is not about making a scene or drawing attention to yourself. It's about quietly and confidently removing yourself from a situation that no longer serves you. It's about setting boundaries that protect your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're choosing yourself. You don't owe them a rundown of your reasons or a list of demands. Sometimes people will try to guilt trip you into staying, convincing you that you owe them your time or attention. They'll say things like, "I've been there for you," or "You can't just walk away after everything we've been through." But let me be clear, just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they have the right to keep taking from you. Just because you've shared history doesn't mean you owe them an endless supply of your emotional energy. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to recognize when something is toxic. It means you care enough to protect your well-being and take control of your future. And here's the real power in walking away. It frees you. It opens up space in your life for the people who truly care about you, for the relationships that bring you peace, for the opportunities that will help you grow. When you cut the toxic people out, you make room for real love, real support, and real joy. So next time you find yourself stuck in a situation where you're constantly being drained, remember this: it's okay to walk away. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Just take a step back, choose peace, and let go. That's the power of walking away. When you hold on to people who are only bringing negativity into your life, you're not being loyal to yourself. You're not showing respect to the person who needs you most, you. Loyalty isn't about staying in relationships that are toxic or one-sided. It's about honoring your own boundaries and your own needs. It's about showing up for yourself in ways that others haven't. Loyalty should be a mutual exchange, not a one-way street. If you're the only one putting in the effort, the only one giving your time, your energy, and your heart, then that's not loyalty. That's self-sacrifice. And there comes a point where you have to realize that sacrificing your own peace for the sake of others is not a healthy form of loyalty. If someone continuously disrespects you, ignores your boundaries, or makes you feel unimportant, then your loyalty to them is doing you more harm than good. True loyalty means recognizing when you need to step back and reassess the relationship. It means being brave enough to say, "I deserve more than this," and then taking the necessary steps to remove yourself from the situation. When you choose to let go of toxic people, you're not abandoning them. You're choosing to stay loyal to your own well-being. You're choosing to respect yourself enough to stop tolerating behavior that doesn't serve you. It's not about being selfish. It's about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best to others if you're constantly being drained by those who take without giving back. The greatest act of loyalty to yourself is knowing when it's time to walk away and make room for healthier, more supportive relationships. Stop giving your time to people who don't respect it. Stop giving your energy to those who don't appreciate it. When you choose yourself, you're not betraying anyone. You're showing the world what it truly means to be loyal to the most important person in your life, you. Letting go of toxic people is a difficult but necessary step towards protecting your mental and emotional health. It's not just about cutting people off. It's about choosing yourself over their mistreatment. There's a common misconception that letting go means you're weak, that you're giving up on relationships. But the truth is, walking away is often the bravest thing you can do for your own well-being. The longer you hold on to relationships that bring you pain, confusion, and frustration, the more you lose sight of who you are. You start tolerating behaviors that you know deep down aren't right. You begin to question your worth because of how others treat you. But let me remind you, No one should have the power to make you feel small, unimportant, or unworthy of respect. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I can change them, or they'll come around eventually. But the truth is, people only change if they truly want to, and you can't sacrifice your peace waiting for that change. Holding on to toxic people is like holding on to a weight that keeps dragging you down, making it harder for you to rise, to move forward, and to grow. Letting go isn't about cutting ties out of anger or resentment. It's about creating space in your life for the people and things that align with who you are and where you want to go. It's about recognizing that your happiness, your peace, and your self-worth are worth more than constantly being dragged into emotional turmoil by those who don't have the capacity to treat you right. It's okay to walk away when you've done everything you can and nothing is changing. You have the right to preserve your energy, your heart, and your peace of mind. The people who truly matter will respect your boundaries and will never make you question your worth. So, stop holding on to relationships that take more than they give. Letting go isn't a loss, it's a win for your happiness, your growth, and your future. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay in a relationship that continues to hurt you. You don't need to hold on to people who are repeatedly playing with your feelings. And you don't have to carry the weight of past wrongs on your shoulders. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you're giving them permission to keep disrespecting you. It means you're choosing to let go of the hold they have over you. When you forgive, you release yourself from the burden of anger, resentment, and pain. You free your heart from carrying that emotional weight. But that doesn't mean you have to keep that person in your life. Too often we confuse forgiveness with a need to reconcile, to keep things as they were, to pretend everything is okay. But real forgiveness is about finding peace within yourself, not about giving someone the opportunity to hurt you again. The hardest part of forgiveness is understanding that you don't owe anyone your time or energy just because you've forgiven them. People often expect forgiveness to come with an invitation back into your life. But the truth is, forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to let them back in. It means you acknowledge what happened, you release the emotional charge it holds over you, and you move forward without the need for them to be a part of your journey. Letting go of toxic people and forgiving them can be liberating. It allows you to heal without the constant weight of holding on to past pain. But you have to understand that forgiveness is a personal choice, not a requirement. It's for your peace, not for theirs. You can forgive someone without ever speaking to them again, and that's perfectly okay.